extreme price volatility, variable supply, and strained infrastructure. This has become the new normal for the Australian NEM. But what if there was a way to stabilise the system and reduce costs by making demand more price responsive, all without exposing electricity consumers to the full risks and complexity of wholesale spot prices? In this video, I'll show you how demand response is creating opportunity for large energy users in the NEM, and I'll also show you how you can model and unlock this value using Gridcog. While electricity consumers are typically shielded from the volatility of wholesale electricity prices by their retailer, demand response flips the script, turning volatility into opportunity. This also means that consumers can actually get paid for when electricity prices spike. These periods of price spikes are often defined in DR contracts as dispatch thresholds, and when triggered are periods when consumers should lower their grid consumption. This is often achieved by deploying embedded energy resources like gensets or batteries, or by reducing or shifting large discretionary loads like pumping, crushing, or heating. Outside of energy-only markets like the NEM, in regions with capacity markets, demand response also plays an important role. Here, electricity consumers can reduce peak demand to lower capacity charges, or can actually participate in capacity markets and receive payments for making demand-side capacity available to deploy during stress events. Gridcog can model both capacity and energy-only markets, but in this video, we'll focus on how to model a genset enrolled in an economic demand response program in the NEM. For this project, we have modeled a hypothetical shopping centre in Queensland with a 1 megawatt backup diesel genset participating in their retailer's demand response program. We have configured the genset with a heat rate curve and diesel fuel costs. The heat rate curve reflects the efficiency with which the genset produces electricity at different load ratings. We have also configured a demand response contract on the site meter. This contract has a $1,000 per megawatt hour dispatch threshold and mandatory participation, meaning the site owner has to respond when called upon by their retailer, typically dispatched by a SCADA-based control system when spot prices exceed the trigger price. These demand response contracts could be structured in different ways, but for this example, we have assumed that the consumer will be paid a 50% spot price share, that is 50% of the wholesale savings captured by the retailer. You can see how the commercial arrangements work on the Gridcog commercial model. The retailer is directly exposed to the spot price and is using demand response as part of their hedging strategy. The contract is reflected as a cash outflow from the retailer and a cash inflow to the customer. Let's run the simulation and see how this arrangement impacts the cash flows for the retailer and customer. Now our simulation is finished, let's jump into the cash flows to assess the viability of this demand response program for our shopping centre. As shown here, enrolling a generator with a mandatory $1,000 per megawatt hour dispatch threshold delivers over $690K in additional value to the customer over the 10-year period. The demand response component alone contributes to around $1.6 million in wholesale spot market savings, with 50% of that value being paid to the customer. The genset also offsets other supply costs when it is running, like retail, network, and environmental charges. Meanwhile, fuel costs required to operate the demand response capability total to around $160,000, meaning that with all value streams considered, the customer can generate approximately $70,000 per year in additional value. For large energy users, optimizing demand response is key to unlocking new additional value. Gridcog makes it easy to model scenarios, commercial impacts, and test dispatch strategies before acting. Whether you're evaluating gensets, batteries, or flexible load, or in an energy-only or capacity market, Gridcog helps you turn market volatility into opportunity, making smarter project decisions today.